So, can you tell what's wrong with this PCP? Yeah, it's a multi-shot PCP from SMK Artemis. It's the M30. What's missing? Hi there YouTubers, welcome, it's Steve here, Catanonia, and welcome to yet another air rifle review, this time the SMK Artemis M30. On this channel we do a whole load of reviews on air rifles, air pistols and technology, so if you haven't already, you stumbled across us, just hit that subscribe button, check out our other videos, and also check out the Facebook group that we've got that runs alongside the channel for ergonology. It's down in the links below the video description. Right, so the SMK Artemis M30. Did you work it out? Or what's missing? I'll give you a clue. It's a PCP, it's a multi-shot. Yeah, you'd expect to find some sort of air reserve on here, wouldn't you? Expect to find some sort of bottle system or at least an extra cylinder hanging underneath the actual barrel, but there isn't one. And there isn't one in my backpack for this at all. It's all self-contained in this rifle. Well, what Artemis and SMK, for those that want to know, SMK and Artemis are basically the same people, but basically what they've done, SMK, is they have come up with a brand new concept of wrapping the air cylinder around the barrel and at the same time making it a shroud, baffled, silenced barrel. So yeah, that's why this barrel looks huge, because it's actually the barrel with the air cylinder all the way wrapped around it with all the bits and pieces in to quieten it down. Which means you don't have that big bottle hanging off the bottom, and it also makes it look like a big bore gaming hunting rifle. When you look at it, it does not look like an air rifle, which is quite unique out there, so certainly very unique. But yeah, that's the Artemis M30. Now you can get this in 177, 22 and 25. It's multi-shot, so you're getting a magazine system with it. You also get a single shot tray, and you also get the fill probe at the bottom with the actual rifle when you get it. Now the magazine in 177 is a 13 shot magazine, 22 is a 10 and 25 is a 9 shot magazine. But back to the actual concept of the rifle, well, because they've done that, it's huge, huge, huge barrel. Just look at that. Of course it looks longer on the camera, but it's really difficult. In fact, I don't think I can get this all into frame at all. So let's give you some stats on it, just so you know. Its actual weight is quite a hefty rifle. It's 3.1 kilograms, which equates to about 6.8 pounds unscoped. Bang a scope on there, you're looking at 7 pounds. But the big one here is its length. It's well over a metre. It's 115 centimetres. It's 45 inches, of which the barrel is 71 centimetres, which is 25 inches worth of barrel in there. But because it's got that air cylinder wrapped around it, or you haven't got that extra bits and pieces hanging off the rifle itself, and it's a 250 bar fill. Now on a 2.2 rifle, I am at 12 foot-pound. I was getting well over 140 shots before I even gave up. I just gave up counting. So there's lots of shot count in there as well. And of course your mileage, your shot count will change depending on the caliber and the power restrictions in your country and what you've got. But it's also, on top of it all, regulated as well. Very, very nice, regulated, and it's all of it priced brand new. Of your UK pounds, it's 500 to 600 pounds depending where you get it from. So it's certainly a budget. So let's walk around a little bit more with the rifle itself and have a look. At the back we've got a standard butt plate on here, and then we've got what seems to be a very, very thin stock. It seems very thin. It's ambidextrous stock. It means you can shoot it left-handed, right-handed. However, the bolt and the cutout is definitely right-handed, but you can certainly shoot it left-handed on there. Now we've got this checkering or stippling. I never can tell what it is. I'd say it's stippling, isn't it, where they just stipple the wood. But yeah, it's there, but it's painted on. It's like a graphic. You can just about feel a little bit raised dents. Very, very cheap looking. And it's on the other sides, up the sides as well. So I wouldn't even call it that. I'd almost just call it just like a transfer sticker on there. It's a beach stock. I'm not overly impressed with the beach stock itself on there. Then we've got this 2-stage trigger. So we've got metal down here, metal trigger guard, and a 2-stage trigger. Now in here, there's supposed to be a safety catch. Unfortunately, Graham, who lent me the rifle, thank you very much Graham, one of my subscribers, when he was showing me the rifle, the safety catch fell out. And that safety catch is little, on the trigger is a little bar that you push in one way and out the other way, and it basically just locks the trigger so you can't fire it. Well, the bar fell out, the little ball bearing and the spring fell out of it. Yeah, and the rifle's only 1 week old, so not so great on the quality control, are we going there? But anyway, there's your bolt, your trigger and your trigger guard. Here's your bolt, and it's quite a stiffish bolt on here. So single bolt action, fire through, and then we'll just sound it off. And you can hear it. It's fairly quiet. It's good enough for backyards. Your neighbours will know, but it's not super quiet. So there's your bolt mechanism there. We've got 11mm dovetail rails up the top, and then there's only small slivers. So you're definitely going to be restricted on the type of scope you can put up on there. You haven't got a lot of room to play with scope mounts up there. Underneath we've got the two dials, one for your fill bar pressure, like I said 250 bars are recommended, and then your regulator as well. And here's your fill probe that comes with it. Now I've just left this in here, but obviously you can take it out. But there's your fill probe, and it's a standard Foster's on the end of it. You've got the gauge for your fill, and then you've got your regulator gauge, which you can, through this screw, adjust your regulator. And this actually, yeah, for the price, £500 to £600, has a regulator in that you can adjust. Is it any good? Not too bad, we'll soon find out. And then basically the rest of it is the barrel. You can't put anything extra on the end of it. It doesn't look like there's very standard. There's nothing standard about the end of that at all. Sling studs are being added on additionally, and on the scope then we've just got just a bog standard scope thrown over the top of it just to set the rifle up. If we switch it all around the other way, being careful because this is such a huge long rifle, we'll just pull the bolt back there. In here we have the entrance where you can then slide your single slot tray in there, or you can put your magazine and drop your magazine, and the magazine is held in by a little magnet on that side and a corresponding magnet on the other side to help you load the magazine up. And then it's just a matter of just simply cycling the whole rifle. Of course this is nice and safe, just cycling the whole rifle and shooting as usual. No open sights or anything like that, so you're definitely going to have to put a scope on it, and that is it. It's a very simple and very basic rifle. So let's do our usual thing. Let's take it outside. Let's have a play some music, do some shots at 25 meters, see how well it performs, and we'll come back and tell you what I think of the Artemis M30. Okay, so we're outside. It's beautiful sunshine. This is going to play havoc on the camera, but I need to get this done. We've got the Artemis M30. We're going to put 10-shot magazine through. We're going to do some H&N pellets. We're going to do some Superdomes, RWS. We're going to do some Bisley targets as well, and we're going to do the usual Diablo AAs. 25 meters, camera down range, rested, Artemis with the scope on here. Let's see how we get on. So, how have we got on? Well, let's have a look up the top here. We've got the H&Ns. Not too bad at all, not too bad. Over here is the RS2 Superdomes all over the place. Down the bottom here we've got the Bisley pest controls, but they only should be out to 20 meters or so. So I'm not too surprised with them. And then I think the best result yet again is the Diablos on there. Now I'm going to do a bit more testing. I'm going to play with the Diablos a bit more, really to have a bit more practice with the rifle. I've noticed that the rifle is so long that the slightest movements, and literally that barrel is moving. Of course, that means that your point of aim is moving constantly. You know, I'm used to having short rifle barrels and some of these, but this rifle is so long. Just the slightest movement, you get that pendulum effect, yeah, and it does make a big difference to the accuracy on there. But anyway, not too bad. Not fantastic. Remember, this is a cheap PCP, so we'll go back upstairs and we'll have another thoughts like I usually do with the rifles. Okay, so I'm back inside, and yeah, fun and games with the Artemis M30, definitely. It is certainly a difficult rifle to get used to. I found the length of the rifle quite a struggle. Certainly not freehanding, I would certainly struggle with that. Even rested, I find, obviously because the length of it, you have that pivot motion, that a small movement up this end translates to a huge movement up this end, and I was definitely struggling it, being used to bullpups. But I persisted a little bit, and as you saw on camera, let's take a look at our shots. We've got the H&Ns up here. Not too bad. I did have a couple of jams in the magazine as well, which is why not all the shots out of 10 went here. RWSs, well, no surprise there. I don't think anyone can get RWSs to work very well. The Bisley pest controls down here, that's not a surprise. I did that on purpose. You should only be shooting those out to 20 meters, and I was shooting out 25, so it's not surprised I got a big spread. And then we've got our AA Diablos down here, Diablo Fields. I love those pellets, they're great, and they're all doing very, very well. Now obviously I was under the pressure with the camera watching me doing that, so I did do some more shots as well because I wasn't that happy with that. I pushed it out to 30 meters, and these are all AA Diablos. Quick fire, rapid fire, 10 shots out the magazine, not really taking much time, just bolt bang, bolt bang, and good results on there. So from an accuracy point of view, for a budget rifle, yes, definitely it's accurate enough. Certainly at the ranges that I was testing, 25, 30, and I'm sure it's going to be just as good out to about 40 meters. So for your price point, you're not going to be winning any competitions or anything like that. But for £500 to £600, yeah, it's accurate enough. So definitely a tick in the box there. What else is a tick in the box for? Well, the looks. Definitely, it certainly does not look like your standard air rifle, not at all. It actually looks like a big, to me, stick a sling on it, everything, scope on it, it looks like a proper game rifle that you'd see in all those old films that are out shooting things that they shouldn't be shooting. But yeah, it looks the business, it really does. It's really nice, even with the great big barrel on here, because of the way that it's got the air cylinder incorporated in it. That doesn't really distract from it all at all. It does look the absolute business. So certainly a thumbs up for that. The power and the regulator on it as well, so it's got plenty of air in it. Like I said, 140 shots in 2.2 at 12 foot-pound. I gave up counting. There was plenty in there, and the fact that the regulator, I stuck it over the chrono. All the shots that I were doing through unsorted pellets, they were all within 10 feet per second. Very good. So the regulator is definitely working, and again, all this under five to £600, which is not too bad. You know, we're not talking huge amounts of money here. We're definitely at the budget end of the PCP. So yeah, we'll definitely, yeah, I'm super impressed with all of that. So definitely give it the thumbs up for how unique it is, the way that it's breaking the mold. It's a new design, the shot count, the regulator, the price. Definitely give it thumbs up for that. But I'm afraid with the Artemis, that's where it ends. I don't know how to put this, and I'm certainly probably not going to get any Christmas cards from SMK for this, or the fan club, but SMK do some good stuff, but they're not renowned for their big high-end quality, you know, big budget price things. Not that I've seen anyway. And a lot of their stuff seems to be at the lower end of the market. And unfortunately, when you get down to that area, you do skimp on things, and quality control and quality does tend to disappear. And I'm sorry to say, but I personally think it has happened with this rifle itself. The stock itself just feels cheap. Look how thin the stock is. It's not even coloured very nice. It's beach, and it's ugh. You know, at least stain it, give it some character, give it something. You know, the stippling on here isn't stippling. It's, I don't know, it's painted on. You could just about feel the ink. That's it. That's cheap. It's nasty. Why? Why do that? Stop it. If you can't afford to stipple it, don't stipple it. But don't paint it on. I don't get it. The fact that after 1 week's ownership, that when Graham, the owner of the rifle, was showing me the rifle, that the safety catch fell out of the trigger onto the table. It's like unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. That was like, wow, that's pretty bad. Maybe it's just a one-off with this this particular rifle, but yeah, it'll be interesting to find out how many other people have had problems. The trigger itself is supposed to be a fully adjustable 2-stage trigger. I have tried and tried and tried of it, and I cannot find that crisp point, that second stage on the trigger. You'd expect to find with a trigger that when you pull the trigger, you'd expect to feel a stop, and there is no, I can't feel a stop. I just can't feel it. There, it's gone. Maybe it's me, maybe I've not adjusted it right, I've tried all sorts with it, but I cannot find that second stage on there. I'd expect to be able to come along and just take up the slack, feel it, and then squeeze it. I just can't. It feels like a one stage to me, and there's nothing I can do with it. Perhaps it's me, perhaps it's this particular rifle. The other problem I found was the magazine system. Now, the magazine has got a magnet on the bottom, and there's a corresponding magnet in this side to help you slot it in. Now, I've used things like the Virox and the Day States and all of those that have similar sort of things. You take the magazine and it literally just sucks itself in, and it's beautiful and it works 100% of the time. This doesn't. You have to line this up perfectly because this little plastic bit keeps spinning around. For those that don't know, this magazine as well is one of those horrible magazines that's it's got a plastic spinny bit on it. It's on a spring that doesn't spring, and basically to load it you've got to turn it all the way around. You load the first pellet in backwards from the back, which is very easy to damage the pellets, and then you cycle around loading the pellets in one by one, and that's how you load the magazine system up on it. But then you've got to get the magazine into the rifle, and the gap that it fits in basically doesn't feel wide enough. So you get the magazine halfway in and it just feels like it's quality control. It's simple as that. And we spent ages trying to get this magazine to work, Graham and I. So much so that Graham ended up using the single shot magazine, single shot tray, since he's owned the rifle, because he couldn't get the mag to work. I loaded the mag up because I've seen these magazines before, but when I put the magazine into the rifle, I couldn't close the bolt with pellets in it. I can't do it at the moment because there's no pellets in it, but we couldn't close the bolt, we couldn't get it to work. It turned out I literally had to squeeze and push that magazine all the way in, and when I'd done that, it then engaged properly, which then meant I could close the bolt and shoot. And the problem then is how to get the magazine out, and literally I'm having to put my thumb on it and push like crazy to get the magazine out. The tolerances between the magazine and the loading are not good enough. Quality control, simple as that. I also found that with this magazine and this bolt system, I was getting misfires and misloads as well. And as you can see that with the H&Ns on the trial, the shooting that we did before. So it's down to quality control on that. Also the scope rails up here, far too short. You don't get much capacity here to change your scope up. You've literally got 2 inches worth of scope rail, front and back, that's it. I've got a list here. I really didn't wish I'd do this, but it's the easiest way to remember all of these things that we got. So we got the magazine, the length as well. Alright, some people will get used to it, and I'm sure I'll get used to it, but like I said before, because it's such a long rifle, a small movement here equates to a massive movement this side. So it is difficult to fire and to get stable. I certainly would not be recommending this to beginners at all. No, I would not on there. And there's no extra way to add any toys on the end, extra silencers or anything on here, because this is all unique. And not unless Artemis bring out new silencers for it. But it's quiet enough for backyard plinking. Your neighbours will know about it, but basically there's nothing else you can do about it. So, yeah, I've really sort of slated it quite a lot. And, let me sum it up quite simply with the Artemis M30. I think SMK have done a brilliant job, brilliant concept on building a barrel with the cylinder and the shroud and the muffler system all in one. Excellent job. But they screwed it up by putting it on such a crap quality control rifle, and that's my opinion. It's bad quality. That from the stock to the fake stippling to the magazine system not actually working properly, to the quality control, to the fact that bits and pieces are falling off the rifle, and they've done it all to keep it in the budget of £500 to £600. Personally, I think they should have, with this rifle, put an extra price tag on it, put more into the quality of the wood, the quality of the mechanism, with this unique concept, and add an extra couple of £100 onto the price, they would have had an absolutely brilliant rifle. But for the way that it's being done at the moment, I'm sorry, but no, not for me. It's just lacking in too many areas. It's a great concept. Hopefully the M30 Mark II, they will take and learn the mistakes from that and change it all around. Which is a shame, because I do like the concept of it, but it's, yeah, at the end of the day, I'm unbiased. I take these rifles off my subscribers and then I can say what I want. I don't have to suck it up to SMK. I can say what I want about them. I just won't make their Christmas card list. So anyway, do you have the Artemis M30? Have you been thinking about it? Have you tried one? What do you think of the concept of the barrel and the cylinder all together? Leave the comments down below. Keep them civil as usual. We'll try to answer anything you want. If you got any further questions, then quite simply come through to us on our Facebook group. I'll leave the links down below. All welcome on there. We have a good chat about anything to do with air rifles, pistols or technology. You can ask anything about the M30. Some of you guys already have on there. Consider being a Patreon or donating to the channel. There's some links up there for you to check all that out as well. And don't forget to check out some of these other videos that I've got lying around here, here and here and here. Check those all out, and I've been Catnonia, and hopefully we'll see you on the next video.